What's poppin', people? It's Dante. Check out the security camera on the lamppost. I love the juxtaposition of the new and the old. It's kind of funny. Yeah, it's like my little Truman Show. Good day, good morning, and good night. Yeah, welcome to the show with Dante Sissofo. Sissofo. How to say it? Say it with me. Sissofo? That's how I say it. Can we figure this out together, guys? Sisyphus, Filosofo, Italiano, who knows? And yeah, let's get this day started off right. I'm just walking this way. What I do is I walk up this trail, and then I turn around, I go to the gazebo, look out at the riverside, and then today I wanted to start this video off here along the art museum to showcase the other side of the walk, right? Where I like to walk around the art museum and catch the sun as it peers over the buildings, over the clouds, whatever's in the sort of distance there. And yeah, it's basically the best place to catch the sunrise in Center City is being up on this elevated surface. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Historic. Oh, look, someone's doing yoga there. Historic movie Rocky, right? Famous scene of Rocky Balboa hiking up these stairs, and sort of, iconic space where lots of tourists like to visit. But yeah, I think to be a tourist in your hometown, right? This is a wise approach to, find beauty in these mundane spaces where, really, this is not mundane at all. Look at this amazing structure here. However, locals, they'll consider, it's a tourist spot. It's like, no, this is awesome. This is one of Philadelphia's greatest treasures. Yeah, just waking up, setting the circadian rhythm. You can see the sun rising there in the background. I kind of just stare at it. I watch it. It's kind of cool. You can see it move. Sunrise, yeah, I never want to miss it again. Woke up this morning. I like seeing my breath. When it's cold outside, wear gloves. But yeah, when it's time for me to get the day started, I like to sort of just wake up and throw myself right outside, right? To be confined indoors is the ultimate sort of like modern day tragedy, I believe. And to combat this, perhaps to not be stagnant, sort of wake up with eyes wide open, and to get out there and catch the sunrise is just a good thing generally. Why I love Philadelphia, look at this skyline, right? Look at this beautiful view of the Benjamin Franklin Parkway. All of the nation's flags are sort of draped along those poles down this location. Got a statue of Washington on the horse, yoga pose, and yeah, art museum. This city is so great because it is very, very pedestrian friendly. So yeah, you can pretty much walk endlessly. You can walk so what I do is I walk along the Schuylkill River Trail from Center City, go behind the art museum, from the Schuylkill River, straight shot, all the way to the Delaware River, and I walk river to river along the perimeter. And this allows me to really get the day started off on a good note. Being in a pedestrian friendly city, having a sort of pedestrian lifestyle seems to be supreme. Thinking of my time in the car the other day, how miserable is it to be in a vehicle? Maybe this is just me, but it does not feel natural to be sitting, right? To be seated is not good. It doesn't feel good, and it doesn't feel like I should be doing that. So yeah, I just like being outdoors, walking, standing desks, home gyms seems to be a wise approach to being indoors. What is the function of a home? Shelter from inclement conditions. And so yeah, I woke up and I was thinking about the future, right? The future of warfare. What the hell could the future of warfare have in store? With all of these sort of new technologies, artificial intelligence, perhaps information war, perhaps some sort of I don't know, perhaps some sort of like drone warfare, robot warfare. It doesn't seem humane, right? It seems very inhumane, and I don't really think that's a good thing, right? thinking of my time growing up playing Call of Duty, right? You would use the little controller and shoot people. Yeah, I think that's probably not a good thing actually, now that I contemplate these video games, because imagine going from playing those video games to then just joining the military and using that similar controller to then go and kill people. Maybe that would be a thing. I mean, maybe they already do that. I have no idea with the drones and stuff. But yeah, so ChatGPT is the future. Cut through the noise, right? So don't use Google. Google is definitely out of the picture. You know, the internet is bad, right? To sort of approach life in this minimalist way now when it comes to information. You know, don't watch the TV, don't listen to the news, blah, blah, blah. No social media, delete your Instagram, no Reddit, no nothing. And the reason for this is you can find yourself down some sort of like rabbit holes, conspiracy theories, division, right? The news basically just divides people, and that division causes sensationalism, which generates more eyeballs, more outrage, and ultimately more money. Money, money, money. To sort of, I don't know, think of it that way, right? It's like, is that all it does? Is that all the news does? Is it just like riles people up and gets them angry, and then ultimately they make more money from that? Yeah, maybe. And so yeah, using ChatGPT, right? So going back to ChatGPT, anything that you desire, anything that you're curious about, type it in, right? So this morning I woke up, you know, what is the ancient Egyptian philosophy summary? Like, give me a summary of ancient Egyptian philosophy, essentially. And it went through sort of bullet points, whatever, gave me a couple of sort of bits of information. Wasn't really familiar with this at all. You know, they discussed the sort of pantheon of gods, and I wasn't familiar with the actual meaning of pantheon, and it apparently essentially means, you know, the multiple gods. Thinking of the Pantheon in Rome, where I visited recently, you know, they worshipped a multitude of gods, right? Many different gods. And yeah, essentially the Pantheon was made for this reason. And thinking of the information I've received today about ancient Egyptian philosophy, they have this idea of Ma'at, which is essentially an ancient deity, I believe a woman with a feather on her head. And the story goes, Ma'at essentially encompasses, you know, balance, order, harmony within the cosmos. And when one dies, metaphorically, they weigh the heart against the feather of Ma'at. I found this to be fascinating due to me studying the etymology of the word courage, kur meaning heart. Even tracing back to ancient Egyptian times, it seems heart has been the determining factor for one's purity of soul. And, you know, perhaps having a light heart, they discussed in this sort of like text I got from ChatGPT, one will have a beautiful afterlife, right? So the lighter the heart, the light-hearted soul wins in the end, right? How much courage, how much heart can one exude in a day, in a lifetime? You know, this is something that's been on my mind, and thinking of courage, and the word courage is heart, perhaps is a wise approach to this sort of way of thinking, right? Think of ChatGPT essentially as augmented thinking. It's not going to replace the jobs. It's not going to sort of take over the art world. I mean, maybe the photography world can be a little bit replaced with some of these things, like thinking of advertisements, thinking of fashion photography, modeling and things. But in terms of photography, you know, remember photography as an art form, right? Photography, you know, from the soul, right? Think of it in this way, right? I was contemplating photography this way in the morning, where, you know, instead of thinking of us photographing and, you know, the photograph being this perception of the external world, perhaps the photograph as a reflection of the internal state of the photographer and the photographer's soul is a much more wise approach going forward, that opens up more possibility and a more interesting, I believe, philosophy around the photographs and photography, sort of just generally, right? And so yeah, I think that's just a good thing. Walking today along this path, this is the Benjamin Franklin Parkway. We have the flag of Jamaica, Japan, and many others. So, you know, this is I believe one of the most beautiful things about coming into Philadelphia, right? Many people drive this way and use the Parkway, and to see the plethora of flags and to see the different nations and to recognize all of the different countries under one nation, America. It's a beautiful thing. And you know, I believe that, you know, diversity is quite a good thing and allows for more flourishing, human thriving. This is the beauty of travel. To travel is to learn, to walk is to be human, you know, to be out into just dive into the chaos head first and to figure things out for yourself seems to be wise. Where, yeah, experience is the greatest teacher. You know, traveling to new places seems to be a good idea. This is made with organic tobacco. Lucy's. I'm gonna go sell Lucy's. Loose ones. $1. I used to buy loose cigarettes in West Baltimore when I would walk around photographing, and I would just keep the cigarette in my ear and kind of look tough. One of my many techniques. That way I could blend in. So yeah, I'm just thinking today, all over the place, whatevs. Yesterday, coffee shop, sat down, brother visited town. You know, I was listening to the really like emotional music started to play, you know, in this like dark cave. Like, I like thinking of coffee shops a lot of the times, they're like these dark caves. It seems like just a place to become sick. Because, I mean, like I said, this music's playing, it's really emotional, it's depressing. This guy is sitting next to me, sort of blasting music, right? Just like, or not music, sorry, blasting the news. He's blasting the news, like the mainstream news, whatever, on TV, but like somehow on the phone. I don't know, maybe he's on YouTube, whatever. Oh, look at the Thinking Man. Let's go check out the Thinking Man. And so, you know, I'm hearing, you know, this depressing music. I look over, this woman's got her iPad plugged in, her iPhone, laptop, everything plugged in, headphones on. She's doing her work by the window, which is good, getting natural light. And then to the left of me, the guy is just blasting the news. And I mean, this is something I try so hard to disconnect from. You know, I hear comments from the newscasters, you know, Donald Trump's like a gumball. He's like a gumball machine. You never know what you're gonna get. Like, they're like making all these like weird jokes about Trump and everything. And I'm just like, oh man, like, get me out of here, like, immediately. So the thinker is, Rodin first imagined the thinker as a small central figure near the top of the gates of hell. A sculpture now installed at the Rodin Museum entrance. The Gates of Hell is based on the Inferno, an epic poem by the Italian poet Dante. Let's go. Okay, and Rodin conceived the contemplative figure as representing the poet's creative force. Rodin later enlarged the thinker to monumental scale. In this form, it has come to symbolize all creative thought. The arrangement here with an architectural facade behind the sculpture matches Rodin's gravesite near Paris. The bronze cast, made in 1919, was donated to Philadelphia by movie theater magnate Jules Mastabon. Huh. This is interesting. Okay, so this museum I actually haven't visited, but the facade is incredible, and I know that the classical architecture in the back with the pillars is beautiful. I mean, the sculpture itself is nice. The Thinking Man, I love the depiction of like the man's gaze sort of just looking downward. Very muscular as well. You know, we need more muscle. Put on more muscle mass. It looks more beautiful in sculptures. Wow. The thinker. You can see the muscle in the calves and the leg. Nice. And then this is the facade here in the front. Incredible. Yeah. This is basically like Museum Row, right? There's going to be another museum, I believe, is being constructed down that way. We have the Barnes Foundation, which is, I believe, more contemporary. I mean, it's relatively new or whatever. The Philadelphia Museum of Art in the back, where we just were. And yeah, it seems that Philadelphia is filled with artwork. I actually believe that the first American photograph was created of my high school, of Central High School, a view of the high school from a window. I believe Saxton was the name of the photographer. Not 100% sure, but there's definitely a lot of rich history here in the city. I believe the first computer was created here in Philadelphia. The first mint. You know, a lot of different things, right? This is where democracy was born. You know, the first president, Washington, John Adams, Jefferson, you know, penned the Declaration of Independence. The rich history here. And to just sort of browse your city in this way, where you sort of read the sort of, you know, read the text, read the, like, that's how I found out about the first American photograph, was I read this sort of plaque along the Delaware River at Penn's Landing. And yeah, to just sort of read things and to sort of, you know, look for clues in a way, you know, sort of just read about things here. You know, thank God for William Penn, right? Where William Penn, he was the man with the plan, and he laid out this sort of beautiful park, right? Logan Square, and he positioned Rittenhouse Square, Washington Square, Franklin Square, and all the different parks throughout the city to provide us with these green spaces. And it's interesting to consider that important aspect of his plan as the fresh air, the green space. It's a place for community. It's a place for people to sort of get together and to sort of perhaps, yeah, escape the hustle and bustle of what we now have here in urban life. And that's kind of how I like to use it, to sort of escape the city, sort of think along the trail and think along the, you know, the green spaces and the sort of riversides. It's my way of getting the day started. So yeah, all thanks to Mr. William Penn. Yo, Willie Penn. Yo, Willie Penn. William. If you're watching this, Will, you got a time machine? Thanks, dude. Yeah, these trees are so tall. Right, and these ones are big. These are way taller than the ones along the riverside. It's nice to change it up and to walk this way for today's little vid. Freestyle vlogging is the future. GoPro Mini, 1080p, 30 FPS, exported to 720p. It's a good solution with the Super View, where you kind of just put someone in your shoes, and it's much more interesting to hear thoughts of somebody in a candid approach. Yeah, kind of just treating it almost like a little time capsule for myself and a way for me to flesh out thoughts. And you know, I think I find this sort of like idea of, you know, create the media, create the art that you wish to see manifest in the world. You know, I find this to be a good one. That which doesn't kill us makes us stronger. Lifting every day. I think everyone should be lifting daily. I love the farmer's walk, push-ups, pull-ups, deadlift, yoga poses such as downward dog, upward dog, sphinx pose, whatever pose, child's pose. I'm not really familiar with all these things, but you know, getting your sort of body started in the day this way is a good one. I don't eat breakfast, no lunch. I subtract everything and basically only eat red meat. I have kimchi as well, and yeah, you pretty much got everything you need there. I mean, beef is beef is the future. You know, I'm 1 year into the carnivore diet, so I mean, I've been lifting for many years, for like a decade, whatever, but never have I ever dabbled in the nutritional side as much as I have this past year, and the results are crazy. The gains. You have to embrace some pain to then see some gains. And the greatest thing about this sort of 1 meal a day lifestyle, sort of Spartan minimalist approach, is you're never hungry, right? You'd think I'd be hungry all day, right? No breakfast, no lunch, you're crazy. Maybe coffee is an appetite suppressant. I only eat or drink coffee early in the morning. I pretty much, oh, an owl is passing by. Whoo, whoo. That's cool. I've never seen the owl down here. But yeah, I drink my coffee by like 10 a.m, whatever, I'm done, right? I have like a couple espressos, I'm done. Kind of just take it all in one shot and go. And I don't know, I mean, I feel very satiated from red meat. There's something in it, guys. Is it the cholesterol? I think so. I think there's misconceptions about cholesterol. I also believe we have to go beyond morals and ethics, thinking of veganism, vegetarianism, whatever's kind of sort of imposing this idea that it's going to save the climate or save the planet if you stop eating red meat. Seems to be unwise. You know, anyone that's sort of promoting effective altruism and self-flagellation of blah blahs, it's not good. I think that the more that we eat red meat, the stronger we become, the clearer our minds, and the more will and motivation we have to create more. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women are merely players. Shakespeare. Very beautiful quote here. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women are merely players. And me, as the conductor of the stage itself, with my camera, make sense of all of this chaos, where I can actually observe life through the viewfinder, through the LCD screen, through the camera, through using this apparatus to freeze time and to create something out of nothing from these mundane moments of everyday life where the players on the chessboard align at that perfect moment. There's something to be said about this quote. I mean, it rings very true to this notion of practicing street photography when you observe life on the street, everyday life. It's such a joy. It's such a beautiful thing to be a flaneur, to walk carelessly and to sort of photograph with intensity and to observe life in all of its complexities. We can uplift humanity and to create this sort of depiction of what it was like to live in Philadelphia, what it was like to live in this world at this time, and to dive into the soul of the photographer. There's lots of beauty to be had here in the city of Philadelphia. The fountains and the parks and all of these sort of structures here. Yeah, I think you know, I'm very blessed and grateful to live in this wonderful city. Here we have these incredible sculptures of these what appears to be natives, right, with the swan. The fish. I've made photographs here of the rainbow. I actually came into this exact sort of fountain here, and I also, you know, I made a photograph of a rainbow, and then in black and white at the beginning of last year, during the Thanksgiving Day parade of 2022, I made a photograph of a boy standing atop of this specific location, and he's looking at his hand, and the sort of play with the hands there was an interesting moment to see in the photograph. You know, a lot of the things that you wind up seeing in the photograph are things that you didn't see in the moment itself, where what you see isn't necessarily what you get, but what you get is what you didn't see. But through following your intuition and your curiosity, it will lead you to these unexpected things. 1924. Nice. Oh, Maria L. Swan, in memory of her husband, Wilson Gary Swan. Perhaps the swans along the backs of those sculptures pay homage to their last name, maybe. And so this is me, this is Dante in the flesh, in the real world, outside, moving about, thinking, and getting my day started. How to get the day started? Get outside.